Isinarampal samantala ang nasa 71 mga pantalan sa Peru hanggang Enero 1.
Ito po ay matapos tamaan ng Rogue Harbor waves na halos 4 na metro ang taas ang mga dalampasigan ng Lima at ibang bahagi ng bansa. Buong storya po ating tatalakayin maya-maya. Magandang gabi. Ako po si Rikki Mathay.
Ako si Rikki Alagao Flores. Ito ang mata ng Agila International. Para naman sa mga headlines ngayong araw ng Lunes.
6.3 trillion pesos na 2025 national budget pirmado na ni Pangulong Ferdinand Marcos Jr.
Dating US President Jimmy Carter pumanaw na sa edad na 100.
Buong mundo nakiramay sa kalulusuno sa pagsabog ng Jeju Air Flight 7C2216 na ikinasawi ng halos 180 katao.
Azerbaijani President Ilham Aliyev tahasang pinangalanan ng Russia Air Defense bilang sanhi sa kanilang plane crash.
At ating alamin ang mga saloobin ng mga tao sa pagtatapos ng 2024. Ganap ng batas ang 6.326 trillion pesos na pambansang budget ng Pilipinas para sa susunod na taon. Ito ay matapos pirmahan ni Pangulong Ferdinand Marcos Jr. sa isang seremonya ang 2025 General Appropriations Act o GAO sa Malacanang kaninang umaga.
Mula sa orihinal na 6.352 trillion pesos ay nabawasan ng 194 billion pesos ang GAA dahil sa pagvito ng Pangulo. Paliwanag ni Marcos, ang mga tinapyas niya na GAA ay hindi naaayon sa mga prioridad na programa ng administrasyon.
We take our role as stewards of our taxpayers' money seriously. And for this reason, after an exhaustive and thorough review, we have directly vetoed over 194 billion worth of the line items that are not consistent with our program priorities. These include allocations for certain programs and projects of the Department of Public Works and Highways and those under the unprogrammed appropriations, which increased by 300%.
2116.
Sa bagong GAA, ang Department of Education na ang may pinakamataas na budget at ito ay umabot sa 1.55 trillion pesos. Sinundan ito ng Department of Public Works and Highways o DPWH na may 1.7 trillion pesos. Nasa ikatlong pwesto naman ang Department of Defense na nakakuha ng 315.1 billion pesos na budget na gagamitin para sa modernization program nito. Nakakuha naman ng 279.1 billion pesos ang Interior and Local Government. Ang Department of Health ay may alokasyon na 267.8 billion pesos. Pasok din sa top 10 budget priority ang sektor ng agrikultura, social welfare, transportation, gayon din ang Judiciary Department, Justice Department at Department of Labor and Employment. Nag-deploy ang Philippine National Police o PNP ng 33 pulis sa buong bansa upang matiyak ang kaligtasan ng publiko at mapanatiling kapayapaan at kaayusan sa pagdiriwang ng bagong taon. Sinabi ni PNP Chief General Romel Francisco Marbil na mahalaga ang papel ng mga pulis ngayong holiday season lalo na at ang pulisyang tumutugon sa anumang uri ng emergency gaya ng sunog, firework-related incidents, mga aksidente at pagbibigay ng first aid kung kinakailangan. Pinaalalahanan din niya ang mga pulis na manatiling alerto at handang tumugon ng mabilis sa oras ng mga emergency. Hinimok din ni Marbil ang publiko na i-report ang mga kahina-hinalang aktibidad sa mga otoridad.
Pumanaw na si dating US President Jimmy Carter sa edad na 100. Si Carter ang pang-39 na Pangulo ng US na nangasiwa ng peace deal sa Middle East noong kanyang panahon. Naging advocate po siya sa global health at human rights. Ang Georgia Democrat ay itinuturing na longest-lived president sa kasaysayan ng Estados Unidos. Naging isang termino lamang siya matapos na talunin naman ni Ronald Reagan noong taong 1981. Mula noon ay nakatuon na ito sa international relations and human rights na siya namang nagdala ng pagkapanalo niya sa Nobel Peace Prize noong taong 2002. Sumailalim sa iba't ibang serye ng gamutan ng dating Pangulo at noong Pebrero ng nakaraang taon ay pinili niya manatili sa bahay at inaalagaan na lamang ng ilang medical experts. Namayapa naman ang asawa nitong si Rosalynn Carter noong Nobyembre sa edad na 96.
Sa kanyang social media post ay inalala ni Pangulong Ferdinand Marcos Jr. ang yumaong dating Pangulo ng Estados Unidos na si Jimmy Carter. Sinabi ni Marcos Jr. na walang patid ang dedikasyon ni Carter sa mga humanitarian causes nito at malalim din ang commitment nito sa kapayapaan, katarungan at karapatang pantao. Bumisita ng Pilipinas si Carter noong taong 1999 upang magtayo ng mga affordable houses. Bahagi ito ng kanyang kampanya para sa Habitat for Humanity. Inilarawan din ni Marcos Jr. si Carter bilang isang modelo na gumagawa ng mabuti hindi para sa politika o personal na pakinabang, kundi dahil sa dalisay na pagmamahal sa kapwa-tao.
Nakapagtala ang Department of Health o DOH ng 46 na kaso ng bronchial asthma at acute exacerbation sa buong Pilipinas. Sinabi ng DOH na posible pang tumaas ang bilang ng nasabing lung disease cases dahil yan sa holiday season. Payo ng health experts sa mga taong may hika at sa mga matatanda, ugaliing magsuot ng N95 masks o surgical masks. Takpan din po ang ilong at bibig gamit ang basang tuwalya kapag may fireworks display para maiwasan na ma-expose sa usok. Samantala, tumaas naman sa 163 ang kabuuang bilang ng fireworks-related injuries. At dahil dito, paulit-ulit ang babala ng DOH tungkol sa panganib ng paggamit ng paputok ngayong holiday season. Payo ng ahensya sa publiko, manood na lamang ng community fireworks displays para maiwasan ang aksidente na dulot ng paputok.
Katiting man ang tabya sa presyo sa mga produktong petrolyo bukas ng alas 6 ng umaga, ay thankful pa rin daw dapat tayo. Nag-abiso ang iba't ibang kumpanya ng langis na mababawasan ng 30 sentimos ang presyo ng kanilang gasolina at diesel, habang 90 sentimos naman ang ibabawas sa kerosene o gaas. Ang rollback sa presyo ay dahil sa inaasahang sobrang supply ng langis at voluntaryong oil production cuts ng OPEC+.
Inakusahan ni Philippine Coast Guard o PCG Commodore J. Tariela na gumagawa ang China ng isang script na nagsasabing ginagambala ng mga sasakyang pandagat ng PCG at mga mangingisdang Pilipino ang soberanya ng Beijing sa South China Sea at sa West Philippine Sea. Ayon kay Tariela, ginajustify o binibigyan ng China ng katwiran ang mga ginagawa nitong provokasyon sa WPS. Ang iligal na pag-angkin ng China ay magpapataas lamang ng tensyon at ang sitwasyong ito anya ay lalong nagiging komplikado dahil ayaw managot ng Beijing na lumalabag sila sa mga batas. Sinagot din ni Tariela ang pahayag ni Zhang Xiaogang, spokesperson po ng China's Ministry of National Defense, na ang Pilipinas daw ay laging nag-uorganisa ng mga sasakyang pandagat upang labagin ang soberanya, karapatan at interes ng China sa South China Sea at gumaganap pa daw na biktima ang Pilipinas para makakuha ng simpatya at lituhin ang international community. Paliwanag ni Tariela, nakakapagtaka dahil kung scripted scenario ang pag-oorganisa ng mga Pilipino na mga sasakyang pandagat, ay bakit laging nahuhulog ang mga Chinese sa plot ng kwentong ito at patuloy na sila ang gumaganap na kontrabida. Pinayuhan ng opisyal ang China na resolbahin nito ang mga issue sa WPS sa pamamagitan ng pagsunod sa international law kaysa sa paggamit ng agresyon laban sa mga ordinaryong mangingisdang sibilyan na nagsisikap lamang na mamuhay sa loob ng eksklusibong economic zone ng Pilipinas. Susunod, 179 na katao patay sa pagsabog ng Jeju Air Flight 7C2216 noong linggo.
Vladimir Putin humingi ng tawad kay Azerbaijan President Ilham Aliyev.
At wala pong bibitaw, magbabalik po ang mata ng Agila International.
Let's get... Join us as we welcome 2025 in style. Live performances, exclusive stars, and a countdown like no other. Don't miss the New Year's countdown on December 31, starts at 9 p.m. live on Net25. Net25 New Year Countdown is presented by Brave Connective, where courageous brands connect better. Bank of Commerce, we think customers. Nescafe Ready to Drink. Get back, get up with Nescafe Ready to Drink. Pure Gold. Sa Pure Gold, always panalo. Co-presented by Pure Foods Tender Juicy. Kids can tell na ang pinaka-tender, pinaka-juicy, at pinaka-masarap, tender juicy hotdog. Pinakasulit na inuulit-ulit, Zynergia, where wellness is wealth. Health Forum with Doc Atoy. DICT, eGovPH, elevating convenience to government experience. Download eGovPH from App Store and Google Play Store now. PhilPower Group and Marketing Corporation. Sponsored by Vida Skincare. Philippine Airlines, the heart of the Filipino. Nizep Z Plus Forte, The Farm at San Benito, Lazada, and Magnolia Chicken Templados. An event venue partner, Philippine Arena.
Uy, alam mo na ba? Dahil sa pinalawak at mga bagong benepisyo para sa mamamayan.
착륙한 뒤 활주로를 이탈해 근원 담장 끝까지가 폭발했다고 합니다.
Hindi bababa sa 179 katao ang sinasabing nasawi matapos bumagsak ang Jeju Air Flight 7C2216 sa Muan International Airport sa South Korea nitong linggo ng umaga.
불의의 사고로 희생되신 분들의 명복을 빌며 유가족분들께 깊은 애도와 위로의 말씀을 드립니다. 국민의 안전과 생명을 책임지는 정부 수반의 대행으로서 이루 말할 수 없는 비통함과 송구한 마음입니다.
Sa ulat ng Yonhap News Agency, nangyari ang insidente matapos sumalpok sa konkretong pader ng paliparan ng Jeju Air Flight 181 ay habang nagsasagawa ng isang emergency landing galing Bangkok sakay ang 181 mga pasahero. Iniulat na nagkaroon ng problema ang Boeing 737-800 habang nakitang sumadsad ito sa runway ng walang nakikitang landing gear bago sumalpok sa pader bandang alas 9 ng umaga, oras sa South Korea. Inilarawan naman ng mga saksi na narinig nilang malalakas na pagsabog bago ang pagsalpok ng eroplano sa pader ng paliparan. Hinala naman ng mga otoridad na maaaring may nangyaring bird strike habang ang eroplano ay lalanding. Patuloy ang mga emergency responders sa paghahanap ng mga labi habang kinumpirma ng otoridad ang naligtas na 2 survivors na nakuha mula sa tail section ng eroplano na agad namang isinugod sa pinakamalapit na ospital. Samantala, patuloy ang ginagawang pagsisikap ng mga otoridad na mailabas sa mga labi ng nasa loob pa ng naturang eroplano. Ang pagbagsak ng Jeju Air Flight 7C-2216 ang naitalang pinakamalalang aksidente sa kasaysayan ng civil aviation ng South Korea at ito rin ang kauna-unahang fatal na insidente sa kasaysayan ng Jeju Air, isa sa pinakamalalaking low-cost carriers ng South Korea na itinatag noong 2005. Sa ngayon, isang pasahero at isang miyembro ng crew ng Jeju Air Flight 7C-2216 ang nakaligtas.
정부는 전남 무안군을 특별 재난 지역으로 선포하고 피해 수습, 유가족 지원, 부상자 치료 등 필요한 지원을 다하겠습니다. 정부는 제주항공 여객기 사고 중앙 재난 안전대책본부를 중심으로 모든 부처와 지자체 그리고 유관기관이 함께 가용장원을 총동원하여 피해 수습과 지원을 위해 총력을 다하고 있습니다. 전남 무안군을 특별 재난 지역으로 선포합니다.
Humingi ng paumanhin ng pamunuan ng Jeju Air, may-ari ng Jeju Air Flight, kung saan sinapit ang kalunos-lunos na aksidente na kinasasangkutan ng kumpanya.
이번 사고로 인해서 유명을 달리하신 탑승객분들과 유가족분들께 깊은 애도와 사과의 말씀을 올립니다.
Lula ng Jeju Air ang 181 pasahero. Bumangga ang eroplano sa pader pagdating ito sa Muan International Airport sa South Korea kung saan 2 ang nakaligtas, isang miyembro ng crew at isang pasahero habang 179 naman ang itinuturing ng nasawi sa naturang insidente. Ang Boeing 737-8AS ay galing Bangkok patungong South Korea. Ayon sa paunang investigasyon, posibleng sanhi ng emergency landing ang pagbangga ng eroplano sa ibon kasabay ng masamang kondisyon ng panahon. Nagpadala naman ang National Fire Agency ng South Korea ng 32 fire trucks at maraming bumbero upang apulahin ang apoy at magsagawa ng search and rescue operations. Ipinahayag ng Jeju Air ang matinding pakikiramay o deep condolences at paumanhin para sa malungkot na insidenteng sinapit ng mga naulilang pamilya at nagpasya silang tutukan ang investigasyon at tulungan ang mga pamilya ng mga nasawi.
저희 제주항공은 빠른 사고 수습과 탑승자 가족 지원을 위해 모든 노력을 다하겠습니다. 아울러 정부와 함께 사고 원인 규명에도 최선을 다하겠습니다. 정비 프로그램에 따라 가지고 지속적으로 정비를 하고 있는 거고요. 이 항공기에 이상이 있었던 징후는 전혀 없었습니다. 오늘 휴일인데도
Bunsod ng pagsadsad ng isang Jeju Air Boeing sa South Korea na ikinamatay ng 179 na katao ay naging pangunahing paksa kung handa at ligtas nga ba ang mga paliparan sa Pilipinas laban sa mga bird strikes. Umusbong ang issue na ito lalo na at ilang kilometro lamang din ang layo ng Ninoy Aquino International Airport sa Freedom Island na isang protected bird sanctuary sa Manila Bay. Ngunit ayon sa Civil Aviation Authority of the Philippines o CAAP, may safety measures ang mga paliparan sa Pilipinas upang maiwasan ang mga nasabing bird strikes. Sinabi ni CAAP spokesperson Eric Apolonio na ang climate change ay isang factor na isinasaalang-alang ng ahensya kapag ipinatutupad ang mga safety measures, partikular na anya sa panahon ng pag-take off o kaya'y pag-landing upang maiwasan ang bird strike sa mga paliparan. Nagsagawa rin kamakailan ng AKAP ng seminar na tumatalakay sa pagtaas ng populasyon ng migratory birds sa paligid ng mga paliparan at kung ano-anong hakbang ang dapat gawin ng ahensya laban sa bird strikes para tiyaking ligtas ang mga pasahero at mga eroplano. Tiniyak din ni CAAP spokesperson Eric Apolonio na patuloy ang pag-upgrade ng CAAP sa aviation safety protocols ng bansa. Kabilang na niya rito ang pagpapalawak ng mga runways sa ilang regional airports, pagde-develop ng improvements para sa passenger safety at mga bagong regulasyon para sa seguridad ng mga dadagsang pasahero dahil sa holiday season.
Nagmatigas si Georgian outgoing President Salome Zurachvili na bumaba sa pwesto kahit na may bagong halal na pangulo na ang bansa. Nanumpa na sa pwesto si Mikhail Kavelashvili matapos na ito ay magwagi sa halalan noong Oktubre. Subalit maraming mga Georgians ang hindi naniniwala sa panalo ng bagong pangulo dahil umano sa talamak na dayaan. Sa kasagsagan ng inauguration ng bagong pangulo ay ilang libong mga Georgians na nagprotesta sa capital ng Tbilisi. Giit ni Zurachvili na aalis lamang ito sa opisina kapag kikilalanin ang susunod sa kanya bilang illegitimate president.
6 წლის წინ მე დავდევიფიცი კონსტიტუციაზე, მაგრამ კიდევ უფრო ქვეყნის მიმართ ერთგულებაზე და თქვენს მიმართ ერთგულებაზე. ამიტომ ვარ მე დღეს აქა და ეს ერთგულება არაფრით არ შეიცვლება. მე ვიქნები სასახლეში, თუ ვიქნები სასახლის გარეთ. მე აქედან გამოვალ. თქვენთან გამოვალ და თქვენთან ერთად ვიქნები. ლეგიტიმურობა მოდის მხოლოდ ერთი წყაროდან და ეს წყარო ხართ თქვენ. იქ სადაც ხალხის ნდობა არ არის, იქ ლეგიტიმურობაც ვერ იქნება.
Kinumpirma ng Slovakia ang kahandaan nito na pangunahan o mamagitan sa peace talks sa pagitan ng Russia at Ukraine halos 3 taon matapos sumiklab ang giyera sa pagitan ng dalawang bansa. Ito ay sa kabila pa ng akusasyon sa Slovakia na kaalyado ng Russia. Ayon naman kay Slovakian Foreign Minister Juraj Blanar, ang anumang pag-uusap ay dapat na isagawa kasama ang partisipasyon ng lahat ng sangkot na mga partido kasama ang Russia, hindi gaya ng nakalipas na Summit on Peace in Ukraine noong Hunyo na idinao sa Switzerland kung saan hindi inimbitahan ng Russia. Inokonsidera naman ng Foreign Minister bilang isang positibong senyales ang naging pahayag ni Putin para mawakasan na ang giyera sa lalong madaling panahon. Inanunsyo naman ni Putin noong Huwebes na nag-alok anya ang Slovakia na maging platform para sa posibleng peace talks at hindi anya tutol ang kanilang bansa rito. Pinuri din ni Putin ang neutral position ng Slovakia sa naturang issue. Subalit binigyan diin ni Putin ang kanyang pangako na kanilang kakamtan ang lahat ng kanilang layunin sa Ukraine.
Да, действительно, он сказал, что если переговоры будут по мирному урегулированию, а хочу подчеркнуть, что господин Фиц, я не знаю, у него там могут быть какие-то перепалки с действующим украинским там руководством, еще с кем-то в Евросоюзе, как-то у них там чего-то не все складывается с точки зрения взаимопонимания. Но он-то как раз прежде всего и главным образом говорил о мирном урегулировании на украинском направлении. Что касается места проведения, да, он сказал, что если дойдет дело до переговоров, они были бы рады предоставить площадку его страны для проведения таких переговоров. Ну и да, мы не против, если до этого дойдет, почему нет? Потому что Словакия занимает такую нейтральную позицию, с нашей точки зрения, эта позиция является нейтральной, и это приемлемый для нас вариант.
Direktang inakusahan ni Azerbaijan President Ilham Aliyev ang Russia na nasa likod ng pagpapabagsak ng pampasaherong eroplano na ikinasawi ng 38 katao.
Rusya tərəfi Azərbaycandan üzr istəməlidir. İkinci, öz günahını etiraf etməlidir. Üçüncü, günahkarları cəzalandırmalıdır. Cinayət məsuliyyətinə cəlb etməlidir və Azərbaycan dövlətinə və zərər çəkən sərnişin və ekipaj üzvlərinə təzminat ödəməlidir. Bu bizim şərtlərimizdir. Onlardan biri, birincisi artıq təmin edildi.
Dagdag pa na opisyal, dapat managot ang Russia dahil malinaw umanong tinarget nito at napagkamalan ang nasabing eroplano. Ang Embraer 190 plane na mula sa Baku, Azerbaijan ay patungo sa Grozny sa Chechnya, Russia at bumagsak malapit sa Aktau City sa Kazakhstan. Sa testimonya ng isang survivor, sinabi nitong nakarinig sila ng malakas na pagsabog bago pa bumagsak ang naturang eroplano.
Там сказали, что два было, но я один слышал, один был такой нормальный. Второй я, честно сказать, не слышал. Но маски сначала частично выпали, не все маски выпали, а потом все выпали. Может, это после второго хлопка, но второй хлопок я вот прям вот так не слышал. Когда первый хлопок был, я посмотрел, так быстро оценил обстановку, я думаю, сейчас самолет развалится. Сейчас самолет развалится. Еще пару секунд прошло, он не развалился. Еще минутка прошла, даже не минутка, еще несколько секунд прошло, он не развалился. Я думал, надо сейчас уже это как там успеть помолиться. Начал уже слова произносить. Начал уже Всевышнему поминать. Думал, сейчас это, наверное, последние будут мои слова, поэтому я думал, надо настроиться уже к встрече Всевышним. Поэтому пока эта встреча еще не произошла, я думаю, надо полностью заработать.
Sinusuri na ng mga otoridad ang dalawang black box ng eroplano.
Elbette son versiya qara kutular açılandan sonra belli olacaq. Ancak ilkin versiyalarda kifayət qədər əsaslıdır və faktlara söykənir. Faktlar isə ondan ibarətdir ki, Azərbaycan mülki təyyarəsi Rusiya ərazisində Grozny şəhərinin yaxınlığında xaricdən zədə almış və idarəetməni demək olar ki, itirmişdir. Onu da bilirik ki, təyyarəmiz radioelektron mübarizə vasitələri tərəfindən idarə olunmaz vəziyyətə salmışdır.
Humingi ng paumanhin si Russian President Vladimir Putin kay Azerbaijan President Ilham Aliyev kasunod ng pagbagsak ng isang eroplano mula sa Azerbaijan sa Kazakhstan na ikinasawi naman ng 38 katao. Gayunpaman, hindi inako ni Putin ang pananagutan na tinawag lamang ang insidente bilang isang trahedya. Ang pagbagsak ng eroplano ay nangyari matapos ang flight mula Baku patungong Grozny na makikitang lumihis sa kanyang ruta at bumagsak malapit sa Aktau sa Kazakhstan habang sinusubukang maglanding. Lumabas ang mga alegasyon ang pagbagsak ng eroplano ay maaaring dulot ng mga air defense ng Russia na tumugon sa isang Ukrainian drone strike malapit sa Grozny. Ayon sa otoridad ng Civil Aviation ng Russia, ang mga air defense ay aktibo malapit sa Grozny habang tinatarget ng mga Ukrainian na drone ang lugar na nagdulot ng mga restriksyon sa air traffic. Bagaman hindi tiyak sa unang pahayag ng Russia na tinamaan ng kanilang air defense ang eroplano, inamin nilang nagpapaputok sila ng air defense malapit sa Grozny. Sinimula ng gobyerno ng Azerbaijan kasama ang mga international experts ang investigasyon sa insidente at dumating ang mga prosecutors mula sa Azerbaijan sa Grozny upang makibahagi. Ang ilang mga nakaligtas at eksperto sa aviation ay naghihinala na ang eroplano ay tinamaan ng isang panlabas na armas, posibleng mula sa mga air defenses ng Russia. Nagresulta ang insidente sa ilang mga airlines, kabilang ang Azerbaijan Airlines, na suspindihin ang kanilang mga flights patungong Russia dahil sa usapin ng kaligtasan.
Вчера депутат парламента Азербайджана Расим Мусабеков потребовал от России извинений за то, что, по его словам, российские ПВО сбили самолеты азербайджанских авиалиний. В противном случае, по его мнению, отношения между странами могут ухудшиться. Вот, видели ли вы эти заявления и как можете прокомментировать?
Мы, безусловно, видели, но еще раз повторяю, мне нечего добавить к тому, что я уже сказал. Идет расследование этого авиационного инцидента. И до выводов, которые будут сделаны по результатам расследования, мы не считаем себя вправе давать какие-то оценки. И не будем этого делать.
Hiniling ni US President-elect Donald Trump sa Korte Suprema ng Estados Unidos na ipagpaliban ang pag-ban sa TikTok.
will take a look at TikTok. You know, I have a warm spot in my heart for TikTok because I won youth by 34 points. And there are those that say that TikTok had something to do with that. Now, Joe Rogan did, and some of the other people that were recommended by my son Barron, he knew names. I said, who is that? Tell me, who's that? Dad, you gotta be kidding. I can't believe you don't know. And I did those interviews, and it was actually sort of cute. Do you want to know the truth? But we did them, and that had an impact. But TikTok had an impact, and so we're taking a look at it. But you know, we won youth. Republicans are always 30 points down in youth. I don't know why, but we ended up finishing. There was one poll that showed us down about 30. We were 35 or 36 points up with young people. So I have a little bit of a warm spot in my heart, I'll be honest.
Naghain ang kanyang abogado ng legal brief noong Biyernes sa korte na nagsasabing tutol si Trump sa pagbabawal sa TikTok at ito ay upang matugunan ang mga issue kapag naupo na siya sa pwesto. Itinuturing kasi ng mga mambabata sa Amerika na banta sa kanilang seguridad kung saan magiging paraan umano ito ng China para magmatyaga at makakuha ng impormasyon sa kanilang bansa. Ang mga paratang na ibinabato sa TikTok na mayroong 170 million users sa Amerika ang nagbunsod sa Kongreso na magpasa ng isang panukalang batas noong Abril na nilagdaan ni Pangulong Joe Biden bilang batas. Nangatwiran naman ang US Justice Department na ang umano'y Chinese link sa TikTok ay nagpapakita ng banta sa pambansang seguridad at maraming state governments ang nagpahayag ng mga alalahanin tungkol sa sikat na social media app.
Silipin naman po natin ang makahalagang detalye nitong 2024 sa ating pagbabalik White House. Kasabay si US President-elect Donald Trump. Narito po si Net 25 correspondent Rizal Feria para sa mga detalye.
Noong Marso, nagdesisyon ng Supreme Court na hindi maaaring alisin ang pangalan ni Donald Trump sa primary election ballot sa kabila ng kanyang mga aksyon kaugnay ng January 6 US Capitol attack. Noong Abril 15, nagsimula naman ang hush money trial kung saan tumayo si Trump bilang criminal defendant. Makaraan ng isang buwan at kalahati, nagdesisyon ang jury, guilty si Trump sa 34 na kasong isinampa sa kanya kaugnay ng hush money trial. Sa kabila nito, si Trump pa rin ang tumakbo para sa Republican Party bilang Pangulo. A 27 ng Hunyo nang magharap sina Pangulong Joe Biden ng Democratic Party at si Trump ng Republican Party sa kanilang debate sa Atlanta, Georgia. Matapos ang hindi kasiyasiyang performance ni Biden, kinuwestiyon na ng marami ang linaw ng isip ng presidente. Nanawagan ng partido nito na umatras na sa laban ang 81-year-old na Pangulo. Sa gitna ng matinding pressure, nagdesisyon si Biden noong 21 ng Hulyo na tapusin na ang kanyang karera para sa ikalawang termino sa White House. Ito ay 2 araw matapos formal na tanggapin ni Trump ang nominasyon ng kanyang partido. Sa pangangampanya ni Trump, 2 beses pinagtangkaan ang kanyang buhay. Una habang nagrarally ito sa Butler, Pennsylvania noong 13 ng Hulyo, nadaplisan si Trump sa tainga habang nagpaputok ang suspect ng 8 rounds. Ikalawa ay sa West Palm Beach, Florida Golf Course noong Setyembre 15 nang mahuli ng isang Secret Service agent ang suspect nang ikutan nito ang property. Sa pag-atras ni Biden, kulang 3 buwan bago ang eleksyon sa bansa, inendorso nito ang kanyang vice-presidente na si Kamala Harris. Kinabahan ng Republican Party sa maniobrang ito dahil ang tiyak na panalo ni Trump ay nauga dahil sa init ng pagtanggap kay Harris ng mga botante na pinakita ng polls. Pinaniniwala ang mahigpit ang laban sa pagitan ni Trump at Harris. Pangunahing mga isyu ay ekonomiya, imigrasyon, gera at karapatan ng kababaihan. Subalit nang dumating ang araw ng eleksyon, buong mundo ang namangha. Hinakot ni Trump at ng Republican Party ang desisyon ng madlang bayan. Walang pagtatalong nanalo si Trump bilang ika-47 Pangulo ng bansa. Ekonomiya daw ang naging basihan ng desisyon ng mga botante. Marami na sa mga mamamayan ng US ang dumaraing na sa bigat ng presyo ng mga bilihin. Ilang linggo matapos ang pagbabalik pwesto ni Trump, nag-anunsyo ito ng mga pangunahing pili para sa panibagong gabinete. Karamihan ay kontrobersyal na mga personalidad. nakasalalay ang kumpirmasyon ng mga ito sa Kongreso. Sa 20 ng Enero 2025, manunumpa si Trump sa pangalawang pagkakataon bilang presidente ng Estados Unidos. Rosel Feria, Washington DC para sa Mata ng Agila International, trusted, connected, on point.
Sa Amerika pa rin nananatiling bahagi ng headlines ngayong 2024 ang karahasan sa pamamarilo, gun violence. Narito si Net 25 correspondent Myla Simbulan upang bigyan tayo ng pananaw ukol sa tinatawag na epidemya sa Amerika.
The number of mass shootings in the U.S. was not as numerous compared to previous years. This doesn't lessen, however, the impact of gun violence on the lives of the victims and on U.S. society. As of December 27, Gun Violence Archive reports 496 mass shootings happened in the U.S. in 2024. That's a decrease from 656 in 2023. On the morning of December 17, however, the lower rate of mass shootings didn't matter to students and faculty at the Abundant Life Private School in Madison, Wisconsin. A 15-year-old girl fired on her teachers and fellow students during a study hall. In the aftermath, one student and one teacher had lost their lives. 6 other people were injured, and the female assailant was dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. According to the Center for Homeland Defense and Security school shooting database, the tragic incident made it the deadliest school shooting in Wisconsin to date. A brazen assassination of a healthcare CEO was another major news story in 2024 that highlighted the problem of gun violence in America. United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson was shot to death in broad daylight on a New York City sidewalk while walking to a health conference. Images of suspected gunman Luigi Mangione plastered the screen of Americans as authorities began the manhunt. 9 days later, police arrested 26-year-old Mangione in Altoona, Pennsylvania. He faces 11 counts in a New York City court, including first-degree murder and murder as an act of terrorism. Entering a new year, many are wishing shootings like these won't be as common. Based on this year's statistics, however, with the first day of the year also comes the first reports of shootings in American neighborhoods. Myla Simbulan for Mata ng Agila International, trusted, connected, on point.
Nagdesisyon ang ilang sa mga pinakamayayamang bansang bawasan ang kanilang tulong upang resolbahin ang pandaigdigang krisis ng taggutom. Nagkukumahog tuloy ngayon ang mga humanitarian agencies para kumalap ng pondo. Samantala, nahaharap sa mahirap na desisyon ang mga aid workers kung sino sa mga nagugutom ang una nilang bibigyan ng rasyon at sino naman ang aalisan nila ng karapatang tumanggap ng tulong. Thomas Eyelikeness po para sa balita.
As 2024 drew to a close in early December, the UN's new aid chief, Tom Fletcher, began pitching his latest fundraising campaign to governments around the globe. Fletcher is faced with this dilemma. The number of people going hungry or otherwise struggling around the world is rising. At the same time, the amount of money that wealthy countries are contributing toward helping them is dropping. Here's how he describes it.
The world is on fire, and this is how we put it out. We'll launch the Global Humanitarian Overview this week, and it fills me with a mixture of shame, dread, but also hope.
While he has hope for 2025, the reality is that this year the UN raised only 46% of the nearly $50 billion that it sought for humanitarian aid. This is the second year in a row the world body has raised less than half of what it sought. And Fletcher says, given the current political climate, 2025 will be a challenging year.
We're facing the election of a number of governments who will be more questioning of what the United Nations does and less ideologically supportive of this humanitarian effort that we've laid out in this report.
Humanitarian organizations are warily watching to see what U.S. President-elect Donald Trump proposes after he begins his second term in January. Other governments, such as Germany, have already made cuts and are planning more. But Fletcher hopes to convince at least some of them to open their wallets.
I don't believe that we can't make that case to them. I don't believe that there isn't compassion in these governments which are getting elected. And I think these numbers, which are staggering, will cut through.
And here's what those numbers look like. The UN expects to only be able to raise enough money to help about 60% of the 307 million people it predicts will need humanitarian aid next year. That means at least 117 million people, or about 4 out of 10 who need help, won't get food or other assistance in 2025. And the situation isn't getting any better. The UN has identified 22 hunger hotspots. UN human rights worker Ajith Sunghai works in the Middle East.
They're desperately in need for basic necessities. I've never seen in the last 13 months such need for food, shelter, water, and other life-saving essentials. Food in particular is at its lowest point. There is nothing absolutely in the markets in Middle Gaza. There's no fresh fruit, there's no fresh vegetables.
On the African continent, famine is endemic in several countries. One of them is Sudan, where citizens have been enduring a civil war. Senior UN humanitarian official Idem Wassernu says the situation is appalling.
This is a crisis of staggering scale and cruelty, one that demands sustained and urgent attention.
Thousands of Sudanese civilians have been forced from their homes. They have fled to refugee camps in eastern Chad, where they live in dire humanitarian conditions. Many have already succumbed to starvation. This situation is repeated in nearly 24 countries around the globe. The story is the same. People displaced from their homes by war, civil war, gang violence. And they end up in settlements like these, dependent on aid from faraway places where famine and harsh conditions have never been a problem, where people there can't even imagine the suffering. And while January 1st may herald the beginning of a new year, for hundreds of millions of people, it will be just a continuation of the pain of 2024. Thomas I. Likeness for Matanang Agila International, trusted, connected, on point.
Ang taong 2024 ay puno ng pagkabalisa. Simulan na natin sa inflation, kaguluhan ng mga pamahalaan at mga digmaang wari-walang katapusan. Dahil dito lalong nagiging masalimuot ang buhay ng milyon-milyong mga tao sa mundo. Rose Papa Angeles para sa detalye.
Inflation played a big role in global politics in 2024. Although it dropped in most economies, high prices remained in the minds of voters. And incumbent politicians paid a hefty price for that lingering memory. Angered by the hefty ramp-up in prices for everything from eggs to energy over the past few years, they punished incumbents at almost every opportunity. The pain of inflation lingers, and ruling parties took the blame in election after election. In the United States, higher costs helped Donald Trump win a second term as president 4 years after he was voted out of the White House and then falsely claimed election fraud. His supporters failed in their bid to overturn Trump's defeat by storming the U.S. Capitol on January 6, 2021. This year, they made their voices heard at the ballot box, ushering in a new American leadership likely to test democratic institutions at home and relations abroad. The inflation-driven anti-incumbent sentiment almost ushered in new governments in Britain, Botswana, Portugal, and Panama. South Korean voters put the opposition into power in its parliament, a check on President Yoon Suk-yeol. Elections also shook up France, Germany, Japan, and India. One place there was no change was in Russia. Vladimir Putin won re-election as president with 88% of the vote, a record in post-Soviet Russia. Conflict raged throughout 2024, keeping militaries in many parts of the world busy. Moscow continued war against Ukraine, grinding out notable territorial gains. The big question is, what impact Trump's return to the White House will have on the conflict. He has promised to end the war in a day. Many in Ukraine and elsewhere in Europe fear that will mean siding with Putin and freezing the status quo. In the Middle East, Israel continued its war against Gaza. The battle extended to Lebanon, where it left Iran-backed Hezbollah damaged and in disarray. In Syria, a well-coordinated collection of rebel groups toppled Bashar al-Assad and now seeks to run the country. Civil wars and regional conflicts continue throughout the African continent. In Asia, tensions are rising as China tries to exert dominance over the South China Sea. Taiwan is feeling threatened, as is the Philippines and Vietnam. And North Korea is adding to anxiety with its nuclear saber-rattling. All in all, 2024 has been a year of uncertainty, and there are no signs that will change in the next 12 months after the world rings in the new year. Rose Papa Angeles, Washington, D.C. for Mata ng Agila International, trusted, connected, on point.
As a sovereign nation, the Philippines has the right to determine the most appropriate measures to safeguard its security and the well-being of its people. Yan ang paninindigan ni National Security Advisor o NSA Eduardo Año laban sa patutsada ng China na ang pananatili ng Typhoon mid-range missile system ng Estados Unidos sa Pilipinas ay maaari raw na mag-trigger ng isang arms race. Nagbabala rin ng China na magdudulot daw ito ng mas maraming gulo sa rehiyon. Pero guit ni Año, tulad ng iba pang mga bansa, ang pagkuha ng Pilipinas ng defense systems, kabilang na ang Typhoon missile launcher, ay isang hakbang patungo sa pagpapalakas ng deterrence capabilities ng bansa. Ito rin anyay upang matiyak na handa ang NSA na ipagtanggol ang teritoryo ng Pilipinas kapag kinakailangan. Binigyan diin ng NSA na nananatiling tapat ang Pilipinas sa pangako nito na pagkakaroon ng isang independent foreign policy na alinsunod sa mga prinsipyo ng soberanya, maging sa pangangalaga sa pambansang interes ng Pilipinas. Hindi partikular na binanggit o pinangalanan ni Año ang China, pero sinabi nito na ang mga naunang komento na ang pag-deploy ng US Typhoon missile system ay bahagi ng isang arms race o maghahatid ng banta sa rehiyon ay walang batayan at isang pure speculation. Paliwanag pa ni Año, ang pagkakaroon ng weapon systems ay upang palakasin ang depensa ng Pilipinas at ito anya ay alinsunod sa pagpapatuloy ng modernisasyon ng Armed Forces of the Philippines o AFP. Nanawagan din ang opisyal sa lahat ng partido na irespeto ang soberanya ng Pilipinas sa paggawa nito ng desisyon hinggil sa pagtatanggol ng seguridad ng bansa. Susunod, mga pantalan sa Peru pansamantalang isinara dahil sa mga Rogue Harbor wave.
Artificial intelligence, mamamayagpag pa rin kaya sa susunod na taon?
At alamin ang pinakamalalaking istorya sa mundo ng entertainment para sa 2024. At magbabalik pa po ang Mata ng Agila International makalipas ang ilang sandali.
It's that selfie of the year again. Ang selfie with the Agila. Ito na ang pagkakataon ninyong manalo ng cash prizes. 2,500, 5,000, 10,000, and 25,000 pesos. But wait, there's more to that selfie. Cars. 5-seater na, kaya siguradong makakasama mo na ang buong pamilya. Connect 25, baka ikaw na ang susunod na mananalo ng brand new car. 4 brand new cars for 4 lucky winners. Abang-abang na sa muling paglipad ng Agila sa 25 in 2025. The Net 25 New Year's Countdown. Get those smiles ready for the Selfie with the Agila promo.
Sa Peru, nilubog ng mga alon ng mga pantalan at pampublikong plaza. Ang mga residente naman ay nagtungo sa mas matataas na lugar. Ayon po yan sa mga ulat, napilitang isarahan ng gobyerno ang 71 sa 121 nitong mga pantalan at mananatiling sarado ang mga ito hanggang January 1. Pinasara rin ng munisipalidad ng Calo, malapit sa Lima, ang ilang mga dalampasigan at ipinagbawal ang mga tourist at fishing boats na maglayag. Samantala, ang mga hindi pangkaraniwang malalaking alon ay dulot ng patuloy na hangin mula sa baybayin ng Estados Unidos na naglakbay pa ng libo-libong kilometro papunta sa mga baybayin ng Peru at Ecuador. Malaki ang naging epekto ng mga alon sa maliliit na bangkang pangisda at mga negosyo sa tabing dagat. At marami rin sa mga lugar ang nakaranas ng malupang pinsala dulot ng malalakas na alon. Patuloy na nag-i-issue ng mga babala ang mga lokal na otoridad upang iwasan ang mga baybayin doon.
Bukod sa mistulang bagyo at lindol sa politika, hindi nakaligtas sa tunay na mga pag-ulan, pagbaha at pati nasunog ang Estados Unidos. Alamin natin kay NJ de Guzman ang mga kalamidad na ininda ng Amerika nitong 2024.
Sa pagtatapos ng taon 2024, kasama sa pagbabalik tanaw ng mga mamamayan dito sa Estados Unidos ang mga kalamidad na humampas sa maraming lugar. Kabilang narito ang mga buhawi o ipo-ipo, sunog, pagbagyo at pagbaha. 5 malalaking bagyo ang nagdulot ng matitinding mga pagbaha at naminsala mula Florida hanggang North Carolina. Ito ay sina bagyong Helene, Milton, Beryl, Debbie, and Francine. Sinasabing si Helene ang pinakamatinding bagyo na lumapag sa continental US mula kay Katrina. 225 ang naiulat na nasawi. Binaha naman ang US Midwest at ang Minnesota noong Hunyo. Sa South Dakota naman, sinarhan ng baha ang mga daan at nag-iwan ng 7 pulgad ng tubig sa Sioux Falls ng 3 araw. 15 estado sa bansa ang dinaanan ng mga buhawi o ipo-ipo, kabilang na ang Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, Michigan, Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky, Tennessee, Alabama, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia at Florida. Samantala, hindi nagpadaig ang pag-apoy ng mga bundok. Mula sa California Franklin Fire noong 9 ng Disyembre hanggang sa iba pang sunog na kabilang ang mga lumiyab sa Confederate tribes ng Colville Reservation, Wyoming at sa Jennings Creek, New York. Noong Agosto, nagdanas naman ng pagguho ng lupa ang Alaska. Kamakailan dahil sa matinding paglamig ng temperatura na may kasamang pagyayelo sa US Northwest na walan ng kuryente sa loob ng 2 araw ang malaking bahagi ng rehiyon. Tinatayang hihigit sa $280 billion ang nawala sa ekonomiya ng bansa dahil sa natural disasters ng taon. Sinasabing ang insured damage cost ay nasa $108 billion, 5% pagtaas kumpara sa karaniwang kwenta nitong nakaraang dekada. Iniestima ng gagastusin ng insurers ang mga disaster ng $135 billion ngayong taong natapos. Ayon sa USDA, binayaran nito ang mga napinsala sa sektor ng agrikultura. Kabilang ang $143 million para sa producers sa Florida at $92 million naman para sa livestock producers. NJ de Guzman para sa mata ng Agila International, trusted, connected, on point.
Dahil sa hindi mapigil na pagtaas ng presyo ng halos lahat ng bagay, hindi rin maiwasan ang pagtaas ng presyo ng mga bahay sa Estados Unidos. Karamihan po sa housing experts doon na nagsasabing hindi bababa ang halaga ng mga ito. Narito si Ana Kui para sa detalye ng balita.
experts have mixed forecasts of how the housing market will be as we head into 2025. On the downside, most housing experts agree that home prices will continue to rise next year unless a major setback happens. But the good news is that they also forecast the increase will not be as much as we've seen in the last few years. Home prices increased by more than 18% in 2021 at the height of the pandemic, the largest increase on record according to the data analytic firm CoreLogic. CoreLogic recently reports that home prices nationwide, including distressed sales, increased year over year by 3.4% in October 2024 compared with October 2023. They also forecast home prices to increase up to 2.4% on a year over year basis by the end of 2025. Home sales are also predicted to increase in 2025 due to pent-up demand. Experts say, however, that it may not be as big of an increase due to continuing high mortgage rates and housing inventory still being well below pre-pandemic level. Here in Las Vegas, home sales of single-family homes are up 12.9% in October 2024 compared to the same month in 2023, according to Las Vegas Realtors. Median price of homes sold in October 2024 was $475,531 compared to $445,000 in the same month last year. Las Vegas ranked third in the top 10 list of large metro areas with the highest price increases year over year at 5.6% as of October, according to CoreLogic. Government leaders from both sides promised to work hard to make housing costs more affordable for working-class Americans and to build more homes. Experts say people can only hope that that will happen over the next several years. Anna Cui from Agila International, trusted, connected, on point.
Sa kabila ng kawalan ng katiyakan sa regulasyon, bumida ang Artificial Intelligence or AI ngayong taong 2024. Here's our New York correspondent, Bobby Soriano, for the details.
2024 saw companies from all industries and sectors unlock the benefits of artificial intelligence, transforming the business world into a frenzy of investors rushing to profit from the tech-powered boom. AI became a cornerstone of many business operations, driving automation, personalization, and predictive analytics. Companies used AI to streamline customer service, improve supply chain management, and enhance decision-making. Generative AI tools revolutionized content creation, product design, and coding, increasing productivity across sectors. It's no surprise then that the tech industry, at the forefront of the AI revolution, saw some of their most profitable quarters this year, with the likes of Nvidia, Apple, and Google's parent company Alphabet reaching all-time highs in their stock prices. Investing in AI, like all investments, is not without its share of risk, as artificial intelligence has grown to become more and more a part of everyday life. The regulatory framework to police its use continues to try to catch up. 2024 saw legal challenges from news organizations and artists against AI development companies, raising the concerns of copyrighted material being used to train AI models. Equally concerning and uncertain will be the copyright holders of future AI-generated content. For example, who owns the rights to a song generated by AI? The AI user or the company that developed the software? For now at least, artificial intelligence has the support of Main Street and Wall Street, with early adopters and investors greatly benefiting. In New York, Bobby Soriano from Agila International, trusted, connected, on point.
Para naman po sa balitang entertainment, alamin natin ang pinakamaiinit na kwento sa Estados Unidos na nagpaikot at nagpaugong ng industriya ng telebisyon, pelikula, streaming services at pati na ang social media. Here's our Net25 correspondent EJ Gonzalez for the details.
Projected movies in theaters have come a long way since its invention in 1895, while television, barely a century old, continues to bring news and media to our homes. And though streaming is the youngest of the three, proves to be a staple for modern media consumption and entertainment. While there are many milestones in TV, film, and streaming which entertained countless people this year, 2024 is ending strong with box office numbers that climbed higher than ever after experiencing record lows during the pandemic. Disney Pixar's Inside Out 2 once again encouraged all of us to look within ourselves, topping the box office, grossing $1.699 billion worldwide. Feeding into millennial nostalgia, Deadpool and Wolverine held the number 2 spot in 2024, grossing $1.3 billion.
How would I know?
But the breakout and most memorable films of the year are Wicked Part 1 and Disney's Moana 2, proving that numbers defying gravity are what lies beyond. Television, while seemingly the less popular option for watching shows and movies, primetime TV continues to surpass every outlet for sports. WNBA and women's college basketball hailed athletic stars like Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, and Cameron Brink, drawing in record views. She remains the most decorated gymnast in history. NBA Dream Team took home the gold for USA with Steph Curry's standout performance during the final and LeBron James securing Olympic basketball MVP. Shohei Ohtani dominated Major League Baseball in 2024, and as the New York Yankees and LA Dodgers went head-to-head in the World Series, there was no stopping him. The Dodgers ultimately defeated the Yankees in Game 5. The #1 streamed show worldwide comes with no surprise, with themes resonating with children and adults alike. Our favorite Australian cattle dog, Bluey, is on top. Clips of memorable episodes constantly go viral on social media, with fans expressing that Bluey has healed their inner child. While film, television, and streaming is familiar for long-form content, short-form content consumption and entertainment is at an all-time high. Though riddled in controversies, TikTok remains the #1 app on mobile devices with a massive base of over 1.5 billion active users. Notably, its addictive nature is created in part by its engaging algorithm and diverse content. However, many users are anxiously anticipating January 2025, when TikTok will effectively be banned in the United States. President-elect Trump is dissecting the factors of the looming TikTok ban. In mid-December, he met with TikTok CEO in Mar-a-Lago. EJ Gonzalez, Washington, D.C., for Mathay ng Agila International, trusted, connected, on point.
Tuwing unang araw ng bagong taon, minamangha ng Bros Parade ang milyon-milyong mga tagahanga. Marami sa kanila ay galing pa sa iba't ibang bansa. Pinakaabangan ng mga nakalululang floats na balot ng samut-saring mga bulaklak. Ngunit ano nga ba ang presyo upang maitawid ang ganitong napakagarbong palabas taon-taon? Let's find out from our Net 25 correspondents Eva and Alan Basayahe.
From sweeping floral concepts to blossom-inspired designs, every Rose Parade float is an epic build.
Which means that astronomical effort is required when it comes to costs, materials, and manpower.
Your traditional floats start out at $350,000 and go up from there. Every sponsor is different. So, there's a lot of different parameters that go into the parade, and, working with those clients and working with those costs and working with the Tournament of Roses. We probably have an overall staffing of 250 people in this building right now that are on staff leading the decoration charge, from florists, the floral directors, to crew chiefs, to assistant crew chiefs, to regular staff members, scaffolding, and then you have hundreds of volunteers. I mean, I have people that come from all over the United States with the opportunity to decorate a float. All the floats in the parade are exciting, and they all tell an individual story. It's really looking at those floats, understanding those floats, enjoying those floats, and then, trying to understand the story that's behind all of those individual floats.
And behind the One Legacy Donate Life float comes a story of kindness and selflessness.
The float that I work on is specifically honoring those who gave their life and gave their organs and tissue as donors, and also represents those who are the recipients of those organs, donors, corneas, and tissue. My son gave life to 4 men with the donation of his heart, his kidneys, and his liver. I was able to meet the recipient of my son's heart. His name is Jeff. Because of Scott's gift of his heart to Jeff, Jeff was able to walk his daughter down the aisle on her wedding day, something he never thought he'd be able to do. Working on this float, while the loss of my son was a tragic way to become involved, every year I feel like I'm honoring him working on the float.
A question that's commonly asked is, well, what happens to these massive floats after the parade?
According to builders, they'll recycle as much as they can, and if possible, reuse some of the more durable materials for next year's floats.
See, nothing goes to waste. Reporting from Pasadena, California, Ivan Allen for Mathay Agila International. Trusted, connected, on point.
Hello the world, I'm Anna Kui here in Las Vegas, wishing you and your family a very happy and prosperous new year. We'll see you here in 2025 for more stories that matter to you. Happy New Year.
Wishing everyone a wonderful and prosperous new year. May 2025 bring us all peace, love, and happiness in our lives. Arlene Ocampo from the Washington, D.C. Bureau.
From Alexandria, here in the state of Virginia, in the United States, I am Net25 correspondent EJ Gonzalez, wishing you all an eventful but peaceful new year ahead. Happy 2025 to all of us.
It was great 2024 with all of you, our Net25 viewers on our side. Let's make 2025 even better. From Pennsylvania, USA, have an amazing new year to all of you.
From my family here in Washington, D.C. to our viewers around the world, let's start 2025 with brave, optimistic hearts. Happy New Year, everyone.
This is Joanne
and Bobby
coming to you from New York with warm wishes as we step into 2025. From the hustle and bustle of the Big Apple to wherever you are, we want to take a moment to thank you for letting us be part of your stories this past year.
Your trust and support mean the world to us, and we're excited to continue bringing you the stories that matter most in the year ahead.
May the new year be filled with joy, success,
and extraordinary moments. Happy New Year.
Mula po sa lungsod ng Glen Burnie, Maryland, dito sa Estados Unidos, ako si Net25 correspondent NJ Guzman, na bumabati na masayang 2025 sa inyong lahat. Nawa ay magkasama-sama pa rin tayo sa bagong taon dito sa ating himpilan. Happy New Year!
Happy New Year's to everyone around the world. May the year bring you blessings and may your days be prosperous. Percival Parlade from Washington, D.C. Bureau.
Hi, I'm Rosel Feria from the Washington, D.C. Bureau. On behalf of me and my mom, we would like to greet everyone a peaceful and a wonderful New Year. Happy New Year!
I'm Thomas I. Likeness, Net25 World News correspondent from Edmonton, Canada. Along with my wife, Shello, we wish you a very happy New Year and all the best in 2025.
Ayan naman no, sana tumaba po ang puso ng ating mga taga-subaybay na marinig ang mga wonderful prayers and wishes ng ating mga Net25 correspondents mula sa iba't ibang bahagi ng mundo.
And we would like to also greet, of course, all our correspondents who truly connect us with the rest of the world. A very happy New Year.
Happy New Year po sa inyo
Happy New Year,
lahat.
everybody.
At sa'yo din, babe.
Happy New Year. Ang ganda rin ng color mo ulit.
Ang ganda rin ng color mo ulit.
Siyempre, dapat lagi tayong buhay na buhay.
Tama.
Habang tayo lahat ay naghihintay na sabay-sabay natin batiin ang paparating na 2025.
Tama.
And siyempre paalala po, Philippine Arena, mamimigay po tayo ng limpak-limpak na salapi at mga papremyo. So, doon na po tayo para safe din ang ating
Oo, totoo. Nakita naman nila kanina yung kotse. Nakita ko 4, may dilaw, may pula. If I remember correctly, basta ang dami.
May pula at puti yata. So,
diba?
tigisa tayo doon.
Nagparamdam. Kaso hindi tayo pwede sumali. Naku, talagang hindi makamove on.
Diba? We have to give chances to everyone. Okay, Happy New Year!
Happy New Year po!
And narito po kami para maghatid ng balita saan mang dako ng mundo. Muli, ako po si Rikki Mathay.
Ako si Nina Rikki, Alagao, Flores. Ito po ang Mata ng Agila International. Para naman sa mga iba pang balita, hintayin niyo po si Alma Angeles para sa Mata ng Agila World News.
Thank you, Nina and Rikki. Good evening, everyone. I'm Alma Angeles for Net 25 World News. On tonight's headlines. After South Korea's deadliest ever air disaster, the country's acting president ordered an emergency safety inspection of its entire airline operation system. And this came as investigators worked to identify victims and find out what caused Sunday's Jeju airplane crash, which claimed the lives of 175 passengers and 4 of the 6 crew on board.
Here it's nice and straight and level, so the pilots are clearly in control of the airplane, which again begs the question, why did they not lower the flaps? Why did they not lower the landing gear?
And the news starts now. South Korea's acting president, Choi Sang-mok, has ordered an emergency safety review of the nation's airlines after its deadliest air disaster. Now, investigators are racing to identify victims and uncover what caused Jeju Air Flight 762216 to crash. South Korea's acting president, Choi Sang-mok, immediately ordered an emergency safety inspection of the entire airline system.
정부는 제주항공 여객기 사고 중앙 재난 안전대책본부를 중심으로 모든 부처와 지자체 그리고 유관기관이 함께 가용장원을 총동원하여 피해 수습과 지원을 위해 총력을 다하고 있습니다.
The investigation is still ongoing, but early reports point to a possible bird strike as the plane approached the runway. Pilots issued a mayday call and attempted to go around, but the plane ultimately belly landed and skidded off the runway, erupting in flames.
The control tower advised the pilot with the phrase caution, bird activity. At 8:59 a.m., the pilot reported an emergency declaration and go-around due to a bird strike. The pilot declared Mayday, Mayday, Mayday 3 times and used the terms bird strike and go around. If there had been more time, they could have requested preparation measures such as dispatching fire trucks to stand by and preparing for an emergency landing. Typically, in such cases, the pilot makes this request and the control tower coordinates by placing firefighting teams on standby.
The airplane approaches the airport in a controlled fashion. If we just go back a few days to the terrible images from Kazakhstan instead, we'll remember that the airplane was bouncing all over. Here it's nice and straight and level, so the pilots are clearly in control of the airplane, which again begs the question, why did they not lower the flaps? Why did they not lower the landing gear?
Alegi also raises concerns about the emergency response.
In general, if the approach is stable and flat, which is what we see in the images, the accidents are survivable. Usually, however, they are prepared. For instance, emergency services will be standing by, they will lay foam on the runway, they will do all sorts of things. We don't see that in these pictures, which leads us to imagine that the landing was, let's say, rushed perhaps, that there was not much time from the emergency to the decision to land.
Marco Chan, a former pilot, emphasizes the rigorous training pilots undergo.
For the pilot, we normally receive the recurrent training and proficiency check every 6 months. The proficiency check is to check on your ability to salvage a situation of an engine failure, which is the early part of the scenario. And then we do a recurrent training where we practice on multiple complex failures similar to this scenario. So yes, we do have a fairly rigorous training around the world. But as a pilot, in those type of scenarios, it's very time constrained, as you can imagine.
But even with this training, Chan acknowledged the immense pressure pilots face in such situations.
So in their minds, a lot going on, and of course they're trying to achieve a smoother touchdown, as we saw from the video, and I must say the pilots did a great job of the initial touchdown. It was smooth. There's no particularly loud impact that contributed to immediate fire at all. So the touchdown was fine, but then of course it wasn't enough to slow down the aeroplane, and then it ultimately impacted the ball.
One of the biggest mysteries is why the plane's landing gear didn't deploy.
There could be two scenarios. One is a direct impact when the landing gears were down initially, and it could have directly impacted the landing gears with the mechanical structure suffering from the damage. It could have impacted the landing gear doors. It could have jammed the landing gear doors as well initially, so it couldn't extend the landing gear. It can also have impacted the engine, which also damaged the hydraulic power generation. Mind you, the landing gear is fairly heavy in itself, so it relies on the hydraulic power to extend the landing gear. It could have impacted electrical wires, again contributed to the difficulty in extending landing gear.
This tragedy has shaken South Korea. The investigation will be long and complex, but the goal is clear: to understand what happened and prevent future disasters. As Alagi puts it,
at the global level, there is an accepted, standard, well-defined and well-proven procedure to investigate accidents. It's very detailed, very effective. And here I have a standard checklist of all the actions to do. But right now, we're on page 4. We will know when we reach page 30. So we will have an answer. It may not be as fast as the media want. But fortunately, in this tragedy, it is in an airfield that's not over the sea. It's in a, let's say, Western country, so it will be transparent, and we will have an answer.
a grieving father is relieving the horror of watching a video of the plane carrying his daughter crash at Muan International Airport. Jiyeon Ji-young witnessed the aircraft slam into a wall and erupt in flames, killing all 179 people, killing 179 people on board. Take a look.
영상을 보니까 공항에 이미 들었을 때는 불강력처럼 보였어요. 그 조종사들이 어떻게 할 수 없는 상태가 아마 그렇게 갔겠죠. 40대 중반밖에 안 된 딸이 이렇게 됐으니까 나도 기가 막히고 진짜. 이렇게 완전 참사잖아요. 이 정도까지는 아니었을 텐데 한 명도 못 살았잖아요. 승무원 2명, 그 꼬리에 탄 승무원 2명 빼놓고는 다 그냥 한 명도 못 살리고 이렇게 꼭 그래서 이렇게 활주로로 들어와서 그 벽에다가 충격을 해야 됐으면 그런 게 좀 아쉬워요. 그래서 이렇게 아들놈 하나 있는데 그 아들놈보다는 딸이 훨씬 살갑죠. 뭐 가끔 때 되면 밥 먹으러 가자고 뭐 어쩔 때도 이제
기다리시다가 가시겠네요.
걔도 이제 다 왔는데 연락을 할 일이 없잖아요. 그냥 갖다 때려버렸는데 그럴 새도 없었겠지. 이제 곧 도착할 거라고 있었는데 아마 전화기 꺼내는 사이에 꽝 했을 거예요.
네.
I want to bring my daughter's body
Thousands
back
of
home for a
kilometers
proper
away from the
religious
site of the
ceremony.
Jeju Air crash in Udon Thani, Thailand, relatives of Jongluk Dwangmani, one of the 2 Thai victims, gathered to mourn her loss. Her father shared how his daughter, who'd worked in South Korea for 7 years and visited her family once a year, is gone too soon.
I can only accept it, make peace with it. When I think about it, I remind myself that it was an accident. It's something that can happen to anyone. So I've come to terms with it because no matter what I do, my daughter won't come back. I just hope the government can provide some help. I want to bring my daughter's body back home for a proper religious ceremony.
Azerbaijan's president demands Russia acknowledge guilt over the downing of an Azerbaijan Airlines plane. Russian President Vladimir Putin on Saturday apologized to Aliyev for Wednesday's tragic incident in Russian airspace involving Azerbaijan Airlines flight 12 B243 after Russian air defenses engaged Ukrainian attack drones.
Rusya tərəfi Azərbaycandan üzr istəməlidir.
The Russian side must apologize to Azerbaijan. Secondly, it must acknowledge its guilt. Thirdly, those responsible must be punished, brought to criminal responsibility. And compensation must be paid to the Azerbaijani state, to the injured passengers and crew members. These are our conditions. The first of these was fulfilled yesterday. I do hope that the other conditions will also be accepted.
Onlardan biri, birincisi artıq təmin edildi.
A Kremlin statement did not say Russia had shut down the plane, only noting a criminal case had been opened. Captain Igor Shinyakin and co-pilot Alexander Kalyaninov, both ethnic Russians with Azerbaijani citizenship, and Hakuma Aliyeva, a flight attendant, were given full honors at a ceremony at the Alley of Honor in central Baku attended by Aliyev and his wife, Mariban. Aliyev awarded the crew posthumously with the titles of National Hero of Azerbaijan. Meanwhile, a passenger who survived a plane crash in Kazakhstan that killed at least 38 had described the terrifying moments on board.
Subhunku Rakimov survived the Azerbaijan Airlines flight that crashed in Kazakhstan, killing at least 38 people on board. After at least one loud bang, he began to recite prayers, as shown in this video he shot and which has been verified by Reuters. Oxygen masks dropped in the cabin and passengers began to panic.
After the bang, after the masks fell out, I saw that the fuselage shell was slightly damaged, and then I got scared. I thought that the plane would fall apart, that it would decompress and fall apart straight away. I was already getting myself prepared for the plane to fall apart.
The Azerbaijan Airlines flight crashed on Wednesday after diverting from an area of southern Russia where Moscow has repeatedly used air defense systems against Ukrainian attack drones. 29 people survived. Rakimov says the plane swayed as if it was drunk before it hit the ground.
I was conscious when I felt the impact. I was thrown up, hit, thrown up again. I was strapped in. I was being thrown back and forth. It all lasted for a few seconds, and then everything went quiet, in silence. Everything was quiet, calm, and I realized that that was it. We had landed.
He says the sounds of sirens pierced the silence immediately.
I started checking my body and realized that I'm fine. To my surprise, I was fine. And after I realized that I was fine, I calmed down. I didn't even know whether to cry or laugh, what to do. People started to moan. They started to come to their senses.
4 sources with knowledge of the preliminary findings of Azerbaijan's investigation into the disaster said on Thursday that Russian air defenses had mistakenly shot it down. Russia has said it is important to wait for the official investigation to finish its work to understand what happened.
Former U.S. President and Nobel Peace Prize winner Jimmy Carter has died at the age of 100. Take a look.
Former U.S. President and Nobel Peace Prize winner Jimmy Carter has died at the age of 100. He was born on October 1st, 1924, and was one of 4 children of a farmer and a shopkeeper. He graduated from the U.S. Naval Academy in 1946 and served in the nuclear submarine program, but left to manage his family peanut farming business. He married his wife, Rosalind, in 1946, a union he called, quote, the most important thing in my life. Together, they had 3 sons and a daughter. Carter had been a centrist as governor of Georgia with populist tendencies when he moved into the White House as the 39th U.S. president.
I, Jimmy Carter, do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute
the
office of President of the United States.
He served from January 1977 to January 1981. His one-term presidency was marked by the 1978 Camp David Accords between Israel and Egypt, bringing some stability to the Middle East. But it was also dogged by an economy in recession, persistent unpopularity, and the Iran hostage crisis that consumed his final 444 days in office. He was swept from office in an electoral landslide in 1980 as voters embraced Republican challenger Ronald Reagan. Despite his difficulties, Carter had few rivals for accomplishments as a former president. He worked for decades on humanitarian causes and was awarded a Nobel Peace Prize in 2002 for his efforts to promote human rights and resolve conflicts around the world. In recent years, he had experienced several health issues, including melanoma that spread to his liver and brain. He died at his home in Plains, Georgia on Sunday, according to the Carter Center. Carter lived longer after his term in office than any other U.S. president. Along the way, he earned a reputation as a better former president than he was a president, a status he readily acknowledged.
This is a sad day, but it brings back an incredible amount of good memories. Today, America and the world, in my view, lost a remarkable leader. He was a statesman and humanitarian. And Jill and I lost a dear friend. I've been hanging out with Jimmy Carter for over 50 years, it dawned on me. And I had countless conversations over those years. And I always would be proud to say that he used to kid me about it, that I was the first national figure to endorse him in 1976 when he ran for president. There was an overwhelming reason for it, his character. What I find extraordinary about Jimmy Carter, though, is that millions of people all around the world, all over the world, feel they lost a friend as well, even though they never met him. And that's because Jimmy Carter lived a life measured not by words, but by his deeds.
Meanwhile, President Marcos Jr. paid tribute to former U.S. President Jimmy Carter today, highlighting his commitment to humanitarian work and his strong dedication to peace, justice, and human rights. Carter, who passed away Sunday at the age of 100, was remembered by Marcos as a leader who truly lived his values in a statement shared on social media. He called Carter a humanitarian who practiced what he preached, advocating for homes for the homeless and human rights for the oppressed. He also commended Carter's efforts to bring peace to war-torn areas and prosperity to communities struggling with poverty. Marcos said Carter's universal values resonated with people worldwide, including Filipinos who see them as a foundation for a kinder and better society. Canlaon volcano is showing increased activity, with PHIVOX reporting multiple ash emissions and heightened seismic activity over the weekend. In the last 24 hours, there were 6 ash emission events lasting up to 84 minutes, along with 23 volcanic earthquakes, including 11 tremors that lasted up to 74 minutes. And these tremors suggest magma movement beneath the surface. PHIVOX also detected continuous gas emissions, with sulfur dioxide levels measured at over 6,500 tons per day. The volcano remains inflated, a sign that magma could be moving towards the surface. With Canlaon still under alert level 3, PHIVOX is warning nearby communities of possible explosive eruptions, lava flows, ashfall, and other hazards. Residents are urged to stay alert, especially during heavy rains. A tragic hotel fire near Bangkok's popular backpacker district claimed the lives of 3 foreign tourists. The victims, according to the Royal Thai Police, include a Brazilian woman who died at the scene and 2 women from Ukraine and the United States who later passed away from their injuries in the hospital. The fire broke out on the 5th floor of the 6-story Amber Hotel. While the cause is still under investigation, Bangkok Governor Chadchard Sitapant stressed the importance of restoring confidence in the city's safety for tourists.
I believe the authorities reacted quickly, but the smoke was fast. Hotel staff went up as the fire alarm was ringing, but by the time they got there, the fire had already started. The cause of the fire could be equipment malfunction, but investigations need to be done. At the same time, we need to build confidence and take good care of the tourists.
Tourism remains a vital part of Thailand's economy, and this year the country has seen a 28% increase in foreign visitors, with 32 million arriving in the first 11 months. These tourists contributed around 1.5 trillion baht, or $43.6 billion, to the economy. Before the pandemic in 2019, Thailand had welcomed nearly 40 million international visitors. And tonight, people in the U.S. are just beginning to pick up the pieces after a weekend of destructive tornadoes ripped through multiple states. Strong winds and heavy rains battered the streets of Maggie, Mississippi on Saturday as the powerful storm system moved across the southeastern U.S. At least 10 tornadoes touched down in Texas, Louisiana, and Mississippi, with the National Weather Service reporting 1 fatality near Houston. The outbreak destroyed homes, even damaging a school, with winds topping 70 miles per hour. Trees were uprooted. Power lines were down. Hundreds of thousands were left without electricity. Overnight in western Mississippi, firefighters and others worked through the rubble with bare hands, searching for survivors. The violent weather also caused major issues for holiday travelers, with hundreds of flights canceled and thousands more delayed. Tonight, the storms continue to march eastward, pounding Florida and North Carolina. After a deadly weekend of weather, millions are now left to clean up the damage. In Brandon, Mississippi, where a tornado touched down, a home was split in half, but miraculously, nobody was hurt. And the news continues here on Net 25. We'll be right back.
Join us as we welcome 2025 in style. Live performances, exclusive stars, and a countdown like no other. Don't miss the New Year's countdown on December 31. Starts at 9 p.m. live on Net 25. Net 25 New Year Countdown is presented by Brave Connective, where courageous brands connect better. Bank of Commerce, we think customers. Nescafe Ready to Drink. Get back, get up with Nescafe Ready to Drink. Pure Gold. Sa Pure Gold, always panalo. Co-presented by Pure Foods Tender Juicy. Kids can tell na ang pinaka-tender, pinaka-juicy, at pinaka-masarap, Tender Juicy Hot Dog. Pinakasulit na inuulit-ulit, Zynergia, where wellness is wealth. Health Forum with Doc Atoy. DICT, eGov PH, elevating convenience to government experience. Download eGov PH from App Store and Google Play Store now. Phil Power Group and Marketing Corporation. Sponsored by Vida Skincare, Philippine Airlines, the heart of the Filipino, Nizep Z Plus Forte, The Farm at San Benito, Lazada, and Magnolia Chicken Templados. An event venue partner, Philippine Arena.
President-elect Donald Trump has sided with Elon Musk in a debate over the H-1B visa program, calling it a great program. His comments come after Musk vowed to defend the visa against critics who want it scrapped.
President-elect Donald Trump on Saturday sided with Elon Musk in a public dispute over the H-1B visa for foreign tech workers, a program opposed by some of his supporters. Trump, who moved to limit the visa's use during his first presidency, told the New York Post that he was a believer in the, quote, great program. His remarks followed a series of social media posts from Musk on Friday, who vowed to go to war to defend the visa program. Musk's post was directed at Trump's supporters and immigration hardliners, who have increasingly pushed for the H-1B visa program to be scrapped. On Friday, Steve Bannon, a longtime Trump confidant, critiqued big tech oligarchs for supporting the program and cast immigration as a threat to Western civilization. In response, Musk and many other tech billionaires drew a line between what they view as legal immigration and illegal immigration. The billionaire CEO has held an H-1B visa, and his company Tesla obtained 724 of the visas this year. The U.S. tech industry relies on the government's H-1B visa program to hire foreign skilled workers to help run its companies, a labor force that critics say undercuts wages for American citizens.
The U.S. economy could face tougher times ahead, according to an expert warning that soft spots like a weakening labor market, rising loan delinquencies, and struggling small businesses could grow in 2025, raising concerns about a potential recession. Take a look.
I do think that in 2025, we have to be careful, especially with the restrictive Fed policy, that we may, I'm not that confident that we're going to completely avoid a recession. I think we're going to start to see soft spots get bigger and bigger. And I think more people are going to notice it. Labor market definitely is softening, especially with today's claims number. The other aspect is some of the spending patterns that we're seeing. We can definitely see what part of the economy is stressed. It's the lower income families. In terms of companies and businesses, certainly large cap is going to be okay. They have strong balance sheets. Their sizes can withstand a lot of the slowdown. Small companies cannot. And they're much more dependent on a floating rate debt market, which means that if the Fed doesn't cut rates enough, they're going to still be paying high interest rates on their loans. And if they have to actually roll over their loans, it's going to be a big impact on their cash flow. If you look at the loan delinquency numbers, they've been ticking up both for the consumers as well as businesses. And I think leveraged loan market is starting to see a pickup, a meaningful pickup in delinquencies. So when you put all these pictures together, and here we are sitting at the end of 2024, wondering what's going to happen in 2025. There are things that are brewing under the surface of, we're confident recession may be behind us. I'm sort of wondering if there's going to be something that will come out of nowhere and actually surprise us.
The new year may bring pivotal developments in a series of copyright lawsuits that could shape the future business of artificial intelligence. Again, take a look.
A series of copyright lawsuits could shape the future business of artificial intelligence. The cases are from authors, news outlets, visual artists, musicians, and other copyright owners. They accuse OpenAI, Anthropic, Meta Platforms, and other technology companies of using their work to train chatbots and other AI-based content generators without permission or payment. Courts will likely begin hearing arguments starting next year on whether the defendants' copying amounts to fair use. That could be the AI copyright war's defining legal question. Tech companies have argued that their AI systems make fair use of copyrighted material and that they study it to create new transformative content. Copyright owners, though, say the companies unlawfully copy their works to generate rival content that threatens their livelihoods. OpenAI, Meta, Silicon Valley investment firm Andreessen Horowitz warn that being forced to pay copyright holders for their content could cripple the burgeoning US AI industry. Some content owners began voluntary licensing their material to tech companies this year, including Reddit, News Corp, and the Financial Times. Reuters licensed its articles to Meta in October. AI companies could escape US copyright liability completely if the courts agree with them on the fair use question. Judges hearing the cases in different jurisdictions could also reach conflicting conclusions on fair use and other issues. Multiple rounds of appeals are likely. An ongoing dispute between Thomson Reuters and former legal research competitor Ross Intelligence could provide an early indication of how judges will treat fair use arguments. Thomson Reuters, the parent company of Reuters News, alleged that Ross misused copyrighted material from its legal research platform Westlaw, and that it used it to build an AI-powered legal search engine. Ross denied wrongdoing, invoking fair use. Another early fair use indicator could come in a dispute between music publishers and Anthropic. It's over the use of their song lyrics to train its chatbot Claude.
As the new year approaches, people in Southern California are reflecting on 2024 and sharing their resolutions for 2025. And many of these goals are shared by people across the globe. Eva and Alan Basilyahe report from Pasadena, California with more.
Out with the old, in with the new is a popular phrase used especially when referring to New Year's resolutions.
With 2024 about to end, folks from all over reveal their plans for self-improvement in the coming year.
I don't have one. I don't have many New Year's resolutions. I haven't really thought about it yet. It's been a hard year. Looking forward to a better year.
What's New Year's resolution? My New Year's resolution for 2025 is continue working out. I started running this year and I would like to get to the 10K per month, at least once a month, and going to the gym with my husband and cooking healthier and start my own company.
I'm going to learn French, to speak French.
To be more present with my kids and my family and to be intentional.
Probably to get better at baseball and be very nice and kind to people.
To try to meditate at least 3 times a week. And I hope I can keep that resolution because I have not been very good at my resolutions before.
So we're moving to Asheville, North Carolina, so I want to meet a lot of groups and join groups and making a lot of new friends.
Improving on getting straight A's and I want to see if New Year's has a lot of pools and if we could go in for free.
To get straight A's and to make the JV soccer team for my school.
My New Year's resolution is to shut off some pounds and probably spend more time with the family.
After speaking with several people, the typical resolution to be healthier or lose weight was routinely given.
So instead of out with the old, in with the new, perhaps a more accurate saying would be out with the old, in with the familiar, which is a perfectly acceptable motto too.
Reporting from Pasadena, California, Eva and Allen for Net 25 World News.
Now, looking back, we have been very demure and very mindful. Allow me to speak to this generation of Zeds and Alphas. Be mindful of the chance to influence change. Be mindful of restful complacency. Be mindful of having a limited worldview. In a complex, anxious, non-linear world, the more we need to see how interconnected we all are. Our smallest of acts has an effect somewhere in the systems we exist in our work, in our schools, in our personal lives, in our environment, and in our world. Practice malasakit more. Be more mindful of other people's lives. Love your parents. Understand your employees and co-workers. Give your best in anything you do. Always be grateful, even in the most depressing conditions. It's the least we can do to give back to everyone else before us who made our dreams possible. Here's to a hopeful 2025. I'm Alma Angeles. Happy New Year, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Good night.
This program is